I deliberately aimed for perfect scores, just to distance myself from those two childhood friends. After leaving the exam hall, they reminded me not to forget about our agreement to attend Wada University together. I casually agreed, then turned around and chose a university thousands of kilometers away from home. Just as I confirmed my choice of university, a notification popped up on my group chat, "Love him for a lifetime," with those two childhood friends. This group was supposed to have 3 people, but now there were 4 people in it. Leo Song had been added to the group and sent a message. "Hey, I checked my scores. I'm definitely getting into Wada. So happy." Though he said this, only Charlotte Shen and Chloe Sue's names appeared after his message with hearts. Charlotte replied instantly, "As long as you need me, I'll always be there for you first." Chloe followed up, "Me too. On the first day of school, the whole university will know you're under my protection." From beginning to end, I didn't say a single word, and no one paid attention to me. Even though I was supposedly an important member of this group, I felt like an outsider. The group name "Love Him for a Lifetime" on my phone screen now seemed to be mocking me. We were childhood friends who grew up together. When we were 3 years old and first met, they both clung to little me, wanting to be with me every day. On my 17th birthday, both of them confessed to me. I couldn't choose and didn't want to hurt anyone, so I was about to refuse them both. But they immediately grabbed my hand, stopping me from saying any words of rejection. Charlotte said, "Give me some time to think. Wait until the first day of university to give an answer." I didn't want to hurt anyone, so I agreed temporarily. Beijing University was thousands of kilometers away from their hometown. How could I have chosen to go there? I had originally filled out WADA according to our agreement. Why did I suddenly change it? Charlotte and Chloe both saw confusion in each other's eyes. Had I been planning to leave them forever for such a long time? But why didn't I have even the slightest bit of romantic feelings for them? This question could perhaps only be answered by me personally. If I were there, I would definitely tell them perhaps there had been romantic feelings in the past, even enough to be called love. But that love had been destroyed by their own hands. No boy could accept being betrayed by those closest to him, even if they were just friends. I had already been patient enough giving them countless chances, but unexpectedly, even the 2 childhood friends who had always stood firmly by my side would choose someone else without hesitation. After so many times, I should finally give up hope. When I stepped off the plane, I immediately saw a woman holding a sign with my name. The woman was very beautiful, with distinctive eyes as blue as the sky and obviously mixed-race features. Her tall figure with long legs and excellent proportions attracted quite a few stares. Michael Liu. When I approached, I heard her say my name in a cool voice, then she smiled slightly. I was momentarily stunned. "I'm Lily Chu, your arranged marriage partner." Lily introduced herself as she took my small suitcase from my hands. Then she called over the Chu family's driver to help load the rest of my luggage into the car. I just stood there dazed, allowing Lily to lead me along until I felt the climate of Beijing airport and shivered, finally snapping back to reality. I didn't recognize the wrong person, did I? "You're really my mother's arranged marriage partner?" I asked, still somewhat confused. As soon as I asked this question, a gust of wind blew over me, and a jacket was thoughtfully draped over my shoulders. "I don't think I would be mistaken," Lily replied, pulling out a photograph like magic and placing it in front of my eyes. I took it, and saw that the person in the photo was indeed myself, and the photo still carried traces of her body's light fragrance and warmth. For a moment, I felt somewhat embarrassed and smiled apologetically. "I shouldn't have doubted you." "It's fine, let's go to school," Lily said considerately as she guided me toward the car. "I'm a senior at Beijing University's business school, majoring in financial management. If you need anything, you can come find me." As she spoke, she showed me the QR code on her phone. "Add me as a friend." I quickly nodded and took out my phone to scan the code successfully. Lily personally escorted me to the dormitory building and even had the driver move all my luggage up to my dorm room. Before I could refuse, she had already helped me organize and put away my luggage, including making my bed. She even noticed what items I was missing and immediately had someone go buy them for me. I was somewhat overwhelmed by her attentiveness. She was really being too considerate. Looking at Lily's busy figure, I had the illusion that she was really my girlfriend. But I quickly snapped back to reality with Charlotte and Chloe's betrayal still fresh in my mind. I almost didn't want to give my heart to anyone again. It was better this way for now. "Thank you so much for today. I'll treat you to dinner sometime after I settle in," I said politely. Lily seemed to sense the distance in my words and smiled lightly. All right. It wasn't until I lay in bed and fell into a deep sleep that Charlotte and Chloe at WADA still couldn't fall asleep. With me not being at WADA, everything there lost its appeal for them. Charlotte listlessly skipped all class activities and even found excuses to avoid the upcoming military training. She stood on her balcony and called the Shen family patriarch, "Dad, I want to transfer to Beijing University." The voice on the other end argued for a long time, then angrily scolded, "Charlotte, are you crazy? University isn't high school. You can't just go wherever you want." "I will never agree to this. You know that with the Shen family's status and position, your every move must be extra cautious. Don't even think about transferring unless you drop out and retake the college entrance exam." With that, the phone hung up abruptly. The Shen patriarch didn't care what choice she made. He just couldn't use the Shen family's influence for such operations. If it were locally, that would be one thing. But Beijing University was so far away that even the Shen family's power wasn't omnipotent there. Charlotte had known this would be the result. This phone call wasn't asking for permission, but informing them of her decision. At the same time, Chloe was having a similar experience. Sue's father scolded her harshly. "Chloe, do you think you're a 3-year-old child? Today you want to go here, tomorrow you want to go there. University isn't a game for you to play around with. The fact that you could get into WADA at all was thanks to divine intervention and your mother and my prayers. Your mother and I will not agree to this. I know you want to go to Beijing University for Michael, but it's impossible. He went so far away precisely to get away from you two. Give up hope. I won't provide you with any help. If you really want to go figure it out yourself, don't come to us." Chloe also remained silent throughout, not saying a word. For them, it didn't matter which university they attended. Originally, they thought I liked WADA, so they specifically brought me to tour the WADA campus and made agreements to attend university there together. But they never expected that in order to escape them, I would make such a drastic decision. Charlotte and Chloe almost didn't sleep at all that night. The next day, instead of attending the freshman orientation meeting with their classmates, they headed straight to the academic affairs office. The academic office teacher shook her head repeatedly, asking over and over, "Isn't WADA good? Why do you want to drop out? Do you want to waste all the hard work you put in during high school? You should know that WADA and Beijing University are equally prestigious institutions." Charlotte said simply, "Teacher, with my intelligence, getting into any university is easy. Since he's not here, I have no reason to stay." Chloe also chimed in, "Me too. It's just the college entrance exam. With a little effort, it's no problem. I don't want to be separated from him." The academic office teacher hesitated, unsure what to do. At this moment, Leo Song was standing outside the door, having overheard this entire conversation. He originally thought that now, with all three of us at WADA and only me absent, this would be his opportunity. But he never expected that they would actually drop out for my sake. "Charlotte, Chloe, please don't drop out. I don't want to be separated from you either. Can't you look at me? Who's right beside you? I'm no worse than Michael, am I? Please, can't you only see Michael and ignore everyone else?" The office fell into deathly silence for several seconds. Then Charlotte took the first step to break the quiet. "Leo Song, I remember what you promised us before." As soon as she said this, Leo Song's heart sank halfway. Chloe suppressed her anger and grabbed him, leading him out of the office. "Leo Song, you promised us before that you would help us pursue Michael. You guaranteed that you would never develop inappropriate feelings for us, which is why we chose you." Chloe spoke coldly, her eyes red with anger. Charlotte's icy voice also carried over. "You were the one who promised to help us pursue Michael initially. But what's the situation now? You used our hands to drive Michael away, and then you want to confess to us? I remember warning you more than once not to develop feelings you shouldn't have. So what should we do now?" The two of them, sentence by sentence, were practically nailing Leo Song to a cross as if they were about to execute him the next second. He was so panicked he could barely speak a complete sentence. During this time, he had been immersed in their kindness toward him and had long forgotten the original agreement. He remembered when he first met Charlotte and Chloe, he thought they were absolutely divine. Time and time again, I brought him into contact with them, and Leo Song witnessed firsthand how much they valued and loved me. Gradually, he developed a greedy desire. He wanted them to look at him with the same loving, protective eyes. At that time, Michael Liu must have been so happy just thinking about it, made Leo Song feel excited. He dreamed of replacing me and seeing me fall from grace. So he made a bold decision. Leo Song approached Charlotte and Chloe to propose a collaboration. The collaboration was for them to pretend to be good to him to make me jealous, while he would help them pursue me in return. To make them believe this method would work, he deliberately threw away love letters they had prepared for me and forged handwriting to write them to himself instead. When I discovered those two love letters signed with Charlotte and Chloe's names, Leo Song still remembered clearly the shock and hurt in my expression. Sure enough, when I took the love letters to confront them, just as they had hoped, I misunderstood the situation. After that, they believed his plan and decided to confess everything to me on WADA's opening day and explain the truth. But none of them expected that I had already given up and changed my college choice long ago. Thinking of everything that had happened during this period, Leo Song smiled bitterly. "Ha ha! If Charlotte and Chloe hadn't brought it up, I might have continued living in the beautiful dream I created for myself." Their cold, heartless eyes made it seem as if all their previous kindness toward him had never existed at all. Leo Song subconsciously reached out to touch their eyes, but Chloe mercilessly knocked his hand away. "You deceived us and drove away Michael." Her voice carried a threatening tone. "If it were before, we might have considered dealing with you lightly, but if you insist on being so obstinate, then don't blame us." Charlotte's anger was as cold as ice. "If it weren't for you, Michael never would have left us. Aren't you most concerned about your future? Well, withdraw our sponsorship of you and we'll make you pay back everything you did to Michael." As soon as she said this, Leo Song's laughter turned to tears. "Charlotte, Chloe, stop deceiving yourselves. During this time, you had countless opportunities to call him back, but you never did. You were the ones who personally pushed him away. I've said it before, he doesn't love you at all. Even though you drove him away, it was me. It's me," he argued, desperately trying to get their attention. However, Charlotte and Chloe's eyes showed only coldness. "Enough, Michael's heart definitely still has room for us. Stop lying." Chloe also seemed to be convincing herself rather than stating fact. "Don't try to spread more lies." Then both of them left Leo Song standing there alone and went to process their withdrawal from school without hesitation. Leo Song collapsed to the ground in despair, his heart filled with panic. Just losing the sponsorship would be enough to destroy him. He had grown accustomed to a life of wealth and luxury. To make him fall back to the bottom again was simply impossible. Without money, even surviving would be difficult. Leo Song immediately regretted his actions and quickly got up, taking the bank cards Charlotte and Chloe had given him to rush to the bank. "I want to withdraw cash as much as possible," he said, frantically inputting his password with shaking fingers several times before getting it right. At this point, perhaps only large amounts of cash could calm his anxious heart. However, the ATM displayed an error message: "Your bank card has been frozen." He tried the other card but got the same message. Both cards showed the same words. Leo Song was completely panicked. This can't be happening. He immediately tried a different machine, desperately trying to convince himself it was just a machine malfunction, but no matter how many machines he tried, the result was always the same. "Impossible, impossible," Leo Song frantically ran around slapping the bank cards on the counter. "Give me cash, withdraw as much as you can," he shouted at the bank staff. The staff member checked repeatedly and then said impatiently, "I'm sorry, both of your bank cards have been frozen and cannot be used for withdrawals." Leo Song instantly lost all strength and collapsed on the ground like a deflated balloon. "It's over, everything's over." The two bank cards were carelessly thrown on the ground and he was almost in complete despair. He didn't even know how he managed to walk back, stumbling along the way. Suddenly, a mischievous child playing with a small firework was laughing and playing with friends, not watching where they were going. The child accidentally bumped into Leo Song's leg. "Don't touch me," he kicked the child away in his rage. The child fell down, crying, and seeing the firework in their hands, their eyes flashed with mischief as they lit it and threw it at Liu Song's back. With a bang, the firework exploded and Liu Song's entire body caught fire. "Help, save me." Liu Song rolled on the ground in agony. Unfortunately, there were no security cameras in this area, and few people around the two children who had been playing had disappeared without a trace. From the shadows, a black-clad bodyguard stood up. "Young master has guaranteed that Liu Song won't have it easy." My father stood by the floor-to-ceiling window looking down and casually flicked his cigarette. "Good." Liu Song struggled for a long time before finally extinguishing the flames on his back, then limped toward the hospital, barely able to walk. Even without looking, the burning pain on his back made him break out in cold sweats. Liu Song's face was ashen, as he had only walked a few steps before collapsing face first and fainting. After being sent to the hospital by Good Samaritans, Liu Song woke up again to find his entire body in tearing pain. At this point, a nurse saw him wake up and urged him to find someone to pay the fees. "Mr. Song, we can't reach any of your emergency contacts. The surgery and hospitalization fees are still outstanding. If you can't pay soon, we won't be able to complete the follow-up procedures or continue your hospital treatment." Liu Song painfully called Charlotte and Chloe one by one, tears streaming down his face as he begged them to help him one more time. His family was completely unreliable. It would be good enough if they didn't ask him for money, let alone pay his medical bills. However, no matter how many calls he made to Charlotte and Chloe, it took forever before someone finally answered. "What is it?" Charlotte's cold voice came through the phone, sounding like it came from heaven. "Charlotte, please help me. I was injured by a child with a firework, and I'm in the hospital now without money for surgery. Please help me just one more time." "What happened before was my fault, but I couldn't control my feelings. Please just help me this once." "I can only say this much. I think I forgot that you did so many terrible things to Michael before. Our methods were still too lenient, which is why you're still dreaming of coming to us for help." Chloe's voice was equally harsh. "Anyone who hurt Michael should pay back 100-fold. You should have expected this." With a beep, the phone was hung up and Liu Song's last glimmer of hope was completely extinguished. He didn't want to become disfigured, so he used all his savings from the past year to pay for surgery. However, financial limitations meant that even after surgery, he couldn't return to his original appearance. Of course, this was all a story for later. After Charlotte and Chloe dropped out, they immediately enrolled in cram school, though it was more for show since they thought they could get into Beijing University next year without much extra study. Charlotte was confident in her academic abilities. Even without attending cram school, she could study on her own and get into Beijing University next year. Even though Chloe's grades weren't as good as Charlotte's, she naturally wasn't worried since she could always hire private tutors. So both of them immediately began making non-stop efforts to get to Beijing and Beijing University. Meanwhile, I had been living at the university for quite some time and had gotten along well with all my roommates. The campus environment was so wonderful, it almost made me forget about Charlotte and Chloe. After military training ended, my phone rang and my roommates jokingly teased, "Is it that beautiful senior asking you out for dinner again? Honestly, when are you two getting together? We're all waiting to eat at your wedding banquet." "Yeah, lots of people are shipping you two as a couple. We three are even betting on how long it'll take Senior Lily to successfully pursue you. I can't afford to lose." Several of them were chattering away and I couldn't help but blush. All right, I haven't even figured out my own feelings yet. A female student from the neighboring class appeared in front of me holding a bouquet of red roses. "Michael Lou, I really like you. Would you be willing to be with me?" The girl nervously spoke the words she had kept in her heart for so long, her delicate face clearly showing her anxiety. Students behind me started cheering, "Say yes, say yes." I firmly refused. "I'm sorry, I don't like you and cannot be with you." The girl's face immediately became very ugly, her lips moving as if she wanted to say something more. At this moment, Lily appeared behind me, her warm palm possessively resting on my shoulder. "Michael has already refused you. You should leave now." Seeing Lily appear, the girl's face instantly turned ashen with disappointment as she left. Everyone else also dispersed, leaving just the two of us. I was still a bit surprised. They all seemed very afraid of Lily. She smiled lightly, her eyes slightly narrowing in a way that was exactly like an elegant noble cat. "Of course they're afraid. After all, I'm also their teacher. Teacher, you're only 1 year older than me, aren't you? I completed all my university coursework early last year and entered graduate studies ahead of schedule. This year I've been serving as a substitute instructor teaching some undergraduate courses. Perhaps that's why they're so afraid of me," Lily explained, though she was hiding some details. The truth was that she had received elite education from childhood and had already self-studied most university courses, but she was just going through some necessary life experiences. After all, completing everything too early would be too boring. She just hadn't expected an interesting little surprise to appear in her life. It was only after meeting me that she felt I was somewhat interesting. Hearing her explanation, I was almost speechless. For many people, her resume would be the highlight of their entire life. Yet she brushed it off so casually. "You're amazing. They're probably just in awe of you, not afraid," I said, making excuses for what had just happened. Lily smiled without explaining further. Last year, when she first started school, many people had confessed to her, but she had ruthlessly rejected them all. She had even coldly made several people cry, and this rumor spread until many people became afraid of her. On the way to a private restaurant, she unexpectedly encountered two people she never wanted to see again. "Who is he?" Charlotte and Chloe asked simultaneously, both pairs of eyes filled with identical wariness. They had never felt such a threatening presence from anyone, not even from each other. From the beginning, they had always thought I would choose one of them to be with, never expecting that I would choose neither and pick someone else entirely. Charlotte's gaze was cold as she stared directly at Lily without backing down, while Chloe was like a vigilant wild animal, her eyes never leaving my face for a moment. They were waiting for my answer. My heart jumped. Suddenly, I had never expected to encounter them in Beijing. "Why are you here? And who is he? That seems to have nothing to do with you," I replied coldly. "Shouldn't you be accompanying Liu Song right now instead?" I asked coldly, with some probing in my tone. I almost thought they had come to blame me again for Liu Song. At this moment, Lily comfortingly squeezed my hand, giving me warm strength. When Leo Song was mentioned, Charlotte and Chloe's expressions immediately became somewhat unnatural. Charlotte took out her phone and showed me a photo of Leo Song lying in a hospital bed. We're not with him, he's already received the punishment he deserved. I can explain everything that happened before she said. In the photo, Leo Song was wrapped in bandages all over with some scars visible that looked quite shocking. But I didn't care at all. So are you here to seek forgiveness for him? That seems unnecessary. I don't think there's anything that needs explaining. I tugged on Lily's hand. We can go now.